thank the majority leader, because that time, Mr. Speaker, is county and the county of Elgeyo Marakwet, then represented by Kipchumba Murkomen. They were gaining quite substantially. But for the sake of the counties that were losing, they said, we are going to make this sacrifice for the sake of the counties that are losing money. Mr. Speaker, that's a context within which we are discussing this proposal. Senator Nyamira has done a good job to move the amendment. Mr. Speaker, the only challenge that I have with the request put forward to us by the 11 small counties is that whereas the concept of affirmative action is contemplated under the Constitution in formulating a formula for sharing revenue under 203, where we can apply affirmative action to take care of counties that are disadvantaged. The Speaker, I want to be convinced, and I want the 11 counties to convince us, because that's what we are doing here, that this additional money that they're asking for is money that will go to good use. The Speaker, I say that because the Senator of Nyamira, while moving the motion, the amendment, has just mentioned to us that a ruling has been made in Nyamira that the so-called mashinani sittings have now been abolished by the courts. Mr. Speaker, we expect that the Senator of Nyamira will report to us next week that the County Assembly of Nyamira will now be sitting in the gazetted premises of the Assembly, and that they will be appropriating money for the county government under the law and the Constitution. When I listened to Senator from Elgeyo Marakwet, I'm not very convinced about what he's asking for, Mr. Speaker. I'll be very honest. Because the Senator is telling us we should have mercy on them, have mercy on us. Mr. Speaker, this must go beyond us just having mercy on counties. We must be convinced that this money that you're asking for is money that will be allocated to do certain things that are beneficial to the people in those counties. Why do I say that, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker? I say that, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, because the request put forward to us in this amendment is to allocate 4.6 billion Kenya shillings to 11 counties that, in the opinion of the senators from those counties, are disadvantaged. Now, we have just listened to the submission from the Budget Committee. Then, Madam Speaker, going by reality, the growth in revenue to counties is realistically just maybe 5 billion, considering what we passed in the last financial year. So out of this 5 billion, what Senator Nyamira and his colleagues are asking us to do is, out of the 5 billion, then 4.6 goes to be shared among the 11 counties. And then the rest of us, we share 500 million. So, Speaker, now there's a window. There's a window for us to exploit, and we'll try to exploit it. That this House must stand very, very firm that the shareable revenue for all counties cannot be 405 billion Kenya shillings. We must push for 465 billion Kenya shillings to go to counties. That means, Mr. Speaker, we shall be sharing substantive amount of money. But if now we stick to 405, Mr. Speaker, I think then the 11 counties may have to be called upon to also step down a bit from the 4.6 to maybe 3 billion. We are yet to be convinced. We are not going to take a position now. We are yet to be convinced. Madam Speaker, the other reason why I want to be convinced by this committee is that, realistically speaking, the 11 counties are asking to have a triple share of the equitable share to counties. And this is how. This is how, Senator Kenya. If you pay attention, you'll know how. Under the third basis, under 387 billion allocated to counties, that formula puts into consideration equal share as a parameter. So all of us under 387 are getting equal share from 387. All of us, all the 47 counties. Under the proposal brought to us by the committee, the 35% parameter, equal share, applies equally to all the 47. That's the second bite. So you're getting the first bite at 387. You are getting the second bite at the proposal is brought to us by the committee. And then you are also proposing an affirmative action of 4.6 billion, where that is not exclusive to the 11 counties. So basically you are saying the 11 counties should get equal share allocation 3 times in one formula. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it. I'm just saying we need to be convinced that this is the direction that we want to take. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, the wisdom, I guess, of the committee is that whatever we do, no county should lose any money. At least let's begin from there. That whatever it is that we do, there is no county that should lose any money. And the committee had proposed 2 billion Kenya shillings as affirmative action for 11 counties. If we push, and I'm told, Mr. Speaker, I have not confirmed, but I am told that my name was seen somewhere, the member of the mediation committee. If those of us who will sit in the mediation committee are able to push for at least 450 billion to counties, then 4.6 billion is money that can really go on to counties as affirmative action for the 11 counties. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying this. The solution to the impasse that we had in the previous debate on the third basis was not a discussion and a debate on this floor about what formula we are going to use, but it was the amount of money that we are going to be sharing. And I want to urge my colleagues that yes, even as we discuss the formula and the parameters and the affirmative action, our eyes should be trained on the amount of money that we are sharing, all of us, the 47 counties. Madam Speaker, it must be unacceptable to all of us that the National Assembly, in their wisdom, think that, or lack of it, as Senator Mungatana say, think that out of a 4 trillion budget, the best that you can do for counties is slightly above 400 billion. Madam Speaker, we must reject that move by the National Assembly and reject it loudly, not quietly, in every space available to us. We must reject that move by the National Assembly. I don't know what it is that the National Assembly asks against devolution. I don't know what it is, Madam Speaker. You know, these leaders behave as though they are residents in counties who belong to governors and senators, and then other residents in the same county who belong to members of the National Assembly. It's a very funny thinking, Madam Speaker, that we are fighting for the same people. We are fighting to devolve resources to the same people. And I said here the other day, Madam Speaker, and I want to repeat, that the constitutional provision that at least 15% of the money should go to counties, 15% is the lower limit. In fact, there is no lower limit for the money that should be going to the national government. So we could as well even take 85% of money to counties and 15% to the national government. That's what it is. We should not look at 15% as no, that is the upper limit. You know, once they get 15%, we are being told whatever you do, don't give less than 15% of monies to county governments. Madam Speaker, with those remarks, I will sit and wait to be persuaded by the 11 counties, but I stand on the principle that every county in this country must benefit equitably from the formula that we are going to agree on. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Majority Leader.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, can I use... Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this chance to share my thoughts also on this amended version of the motion before us, because I do appreciate, Madam Speaker, that we had a motion that was moving on very well. Then 11 of our colleagues caucused without the rest of us, and now wants to convince us to side with them. Madam Speaker, there's nothing wrong with caucusing, because this is a house of reason, and you convince each other by logic and good sense. And so from the very onset, Madam Speaker, without committing fully, but like a young man, still willing to listen to as many damsels as possible, I want to say that I am willing to be persuaded. I don't know why Senator Kajwang and Senator Kinyua and Wambua are laughing. I know they have misinterpreted my pronouncements, Madam Speaker, to mean other things or to interpret their own stuff. But I must appreciate that, like somebody observed, I think to Senator Kajwang yesterday, that this is one of our most solemn moments as a Senate. It is one of those moments which any senator, by the way, who never gets to record their voice on this matter is not worth even being elected to this house. Madam Speaker, I have my notes from the second generation formula, still very new in this house. I have my notes of what I said in the third formula, and today I can speak off the top of my head on the fourth generation formula, because there is no other powers. You know, this constitution is very mean to the Senate. I have said this before. But at least with regards to the determination of how shareable revenue to counties is shared out amongst the 47, we were granted the superpower. Not even the National Assembly has the kind of power that Senate has. In fact, such is the provision, Madam Speaker, that this is the only occasion where they will require actually two-thirds to overturn any decision of this House. And you know how many times, Madam Speaker, that House has raised that threshold. In fact, I cannot recall any other time, save for the time that we needed to chase a very bad man in this country, Madam Speaker, and they successfully did it. On any other occasion, even on moments where they could actually have self-benefited, they couldn't raise those numbers. I recall the amendment, for example, by the former member of Parliament.
What's your point of order, Senator Q?
Madam Speaker, I have heard Senator for Kericho, the majority leader, saying that the only time that the National Assembly raised a quorum of 2/3 is when they needed to chase a very bad man. I don't know, chase him out of where to where and who this bad man is. Madam Speaker, can you clarify that?
Senator Majority Leader, can you substantiate
Madam
your
Speaker,
allegations?
I've just come back from Kitui County, his home county, this morning. I was in Kitui East.
Order, Senator Kio. Now, can you listen to the substantiation?
A place called, I think, Nzesu or something like that. Zombe, thank you for reminding me. And when I asked the people whether we made the right decision, they unilaterally told me that it was the right decision to kick out Rigathi Gachagua out of the position of Deputy President because his conduct was unbecoming. That was in Kitui where Senator Wambua comes from, not any other part of the country. So if Senator Wambua needed to know who that bad man was, I have told him. So back...
Proceed, Senator ML.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know what Senator Wambua wants to say. If he wants to do a public participation on whether that decision was right, he should go back to the same people that I asked this morning.
Senator Kinyua, what is your point of order?
Speaker, ni kinaya kwa kiongozi wa wengi kusema ya kwamba bunge la kitaifa kuhusu mjadala anayoleta hapa, bunge la kitaifa halisikizi, hawasikizi chochote na ni watu ambao si wazuri wasikizi seneti hii. Alafu hatimaye anatuambia wao ndio walifukuza mtu mbaya. Kwa hivyo bwana Speaker, nasema ni kinaya.
Senator Kinyua, is it a point of order or are you just making a statement? What is your issue?
Kweli kabisa bwana Speaker. Hakuna hoja ya nidhamu kwa yale maneno ambayo amesema Speaker. Nafikiri amechangia tu mjadala.
Senator ML, proceed with the debate, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for protecting me from the frivolous points of orders from my colleagues who don't want me to engage in this debate, Madam Speaker. But I'll tread with caution now so that I don't get interrupted while executing a very important mandate. I appreciate that Senator Okongo Omogeni, Senator Kisang have taken to the floor this early to convince the House, and I've listened to them. I listened to Senator Omogeni, and even when I was having tea while Senator Kisang was speaking, the reason I had tea, Senator Wambua, is that I was not served any ndengu in Kitui. Therefore, I arrived in the House very hungry. But I still listened. I still listened to